Carol from the Catskills, how are you today? Hello, Carol? Do we have you?
Am I there?
You sure are. Well,
okay.
You're not.
I was talking, and you were saying, Carol, do we have you?
Not physically, but we've got you.
Okay, I'm back again. I am terrific. This is such a great idea that you guys have put together. I'm just so excited about it.
Yes.
Well done.
We're really thrilled that you were able to call in. And are you going to tell us a little about what you're doing, or ask a question, or what do you think?
What would you like me to do?
You can do whatever, but tell us.
Well, I'm going to dovetail a little bit, or build on a little bit, what Sebastian was talking about, and that is the leadership and groups and change. I'm primarily interested in creativity through education, working in a college university setting as a teacher. I'm interested in helping people get permission to use their brains in a different way. And I guess I'm going to address this a little bit to Randah, because culturally, since I've worked internationally, culturally I sometimes find a great deal of resistance to the idea of thinking creatively. It kind of may fly against political desires, cultural desires, and certainly in the educational realm, the traditional education model of Europe and some of the Middle Eastern countries.
Sebastian.
I will say that they're all interested in change leadership. So I have put together a little workshop that I've been doing and sort of taking on the road called Collaboration, Creativity, and Change Leadership. Now, they're really not interested in the collaboration and the creativity. They're interested in the change leadership. But they get hooked on the change leadership, and I bring the collaboration and creativity in. So I guess that's kind of a little bit of what I've been doing, and I'm doing it through the higher education venue. So I'm not associated with businesses per se. What I'm interested in finding out culturally around the world, and Sebastian, you also can address this, and certainly Marci, how do you bridge that resistance, the political and the educational and the socio-economic resistance, to changing a way of thinking to become more creative, to become more, I guess, invested in the idea of being creative?
I have one point. I can respond to one part of it. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Randah.
How are you?
I'm just terrific.
Good. It's good to hear your voice. So I have one response that came in my mind. Actually, it was a proverb that came in my mind. It's an Arabic proverb that says, I'll try to loosely translate it, but it says, if you don't know how to tell someone, take from their mouth words and then tell them. So you want to know, whatever it is, even if it's within the same culture you're in, you want to know what that person really values. Could be a historic figure, it could be an event that they're really attached to or something, and use that as an example to say, okay, you see, these, like, try to break it down. For example, if there is a hero in that person's mind or that group's mind, you say, you see, that person went through this part of their life, and this is the changes that he had to deal with, or she. They had to collaborate, they had to use different ways of doing it. So how can we use that example in our current thing? It could be something from the past, it could be something from the current, but whatever that's going on in their mind, if you can pull that one out, and it's very difficult, very tricky, but I think that maybe the trust issue comes at the beginning. Even before trying to change things, we try to build trust, I think, and then we move on. Maybe.
Can I add something?
Please.
Very, very fortunate. Hi, Carol, it's Marci.
Hi, Marci.
We're really fortunate in Canada because the word creative is used almost 3 times in every sentence. So what that means is that our work as creativity specialists north of the border is a lot easier because people hear the word so often, and now they want to get some. So I've been very fortunate to be working with the Ontario Public Service. It's within their mandate that their people become, quote unquote, more creative. So I don't have to sell anything. I just have to show up and be there and demonstrate that I've got competence and experience in the area. It's really kind of cool. And what I find is that there's more of a curiosity now than there ever has been in my professional experience, which spans, more than 20 years, in terms of people going, you mean you can actually show me a way that I can access my creativity? And a lot of what I'm finding is there's some mythology, as you all know, in terms of what prevents people from accessing it. And I don't know if you're still talking about big C creativity and little c creativity. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are still under the impression that big C creativity is what it is, and overlook the little c stuff that they're doing at home. Right. So an approach that I use is let's look at it at home first, right? And I give people an example of a time when I felt really creative, and it had to do with a recipe of a cookie that my grandmother used to make. And the family liked it so much that I had to keep making these cookies over and over and over again. And each time I made the cookies, by the third time, enough was enough. So I looked in the fridge to see what else that I had, and there were some pine nuts. Well, the recipe didn't call for pine nuts. Is this a new idea? Was I using my imagination? Is this a new decision? Okay. Put pine nuts in, and those cookies got gobbled up just like the other ones did. And people go, right? And when they see that it really is within their capacity, that it really is within their normal way of acting, I don't think that creativity has been pointed out to people. I really don't. So when we have the opportunity of leveraging their own life, an example, and it's like, would you like to get a little bit better at that? I can show you some tools that you can use, so you don't have to worry about, did you give your tithing at church? You can go ahead and do it, and I've been very successful in that regard. And I think my history might have a little bit to do with the success as well. But it's talking to the people, the same thing that Randah said, But
yeah,
again,
that's a great idea.
Well,
I'm primarily thinking, and perhaps Sebastian can address this as well, of trying to convince educational institutions that this is a program worth offering in their education program.
Yeah, and
the participants love it when it starts going, but it's the idea of getting it introduced into an educational program, because then you have a whole bunch of people who can then exponentially go out and
make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me check with Sebastian. Are you hearing us yet? Nope, he doesn't have audio at the moment. So.
Well, and I'm just wondering, too, how much the politics within the academic institution has to do with the decision about bringing it in.
Absolutely. That's really what
cynicism.
I was addressing. Not only the politics within an institution, but in various cultures, sometimes the politics prohibit bringing change, because then they lose that control over the populace.
Right. Well, and also you have to look at who's doing the hiring. And the pressure might need to come from the people who are doing the hiring as opposed to the people who are doing the educating. So if the schools are requiring it of their educators, that it's within the curriculum and that they do these kinds of things, and there's pressure on the academic institutions to provide talented individuals who can provide that, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we even know here in Buffalo, that Sid Parnes had to go before the Senate to convince the Senate that was worthwhile, the courses that are now an institutional norm here, and a Master's of Science.
But also from Sid's experience, he's a great story. He wanted to do it. They said no, right, at UB. So he did it anyway, but he called it Retailing 101 and Retailing 102.
Yep.
Okay? And then imagine doing it in that kind of stealth way.
Right.
And getting the kind of measures that you need to prove that what it is that you're doing has some benefit, and then go and ask for yes.
Well, I kind of stole the idea from Sid a little bit when I made the workshop Collaboration, Creativity, and Change Leadership.
Yes,
Change Leadership.
And so you know about using the right language, right?
Yeah.
Well, Carol, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate it, and we're glad to hear from you.
You're most welcome. I thank you. I'm going to hang up, and now I'm going to watch the rest of it.
All right. Excellent. Very good. Well, we're just going to wrap it up. We've just got a couple minutes left. So when we come back for the second half, we'll take some more callers. Plus, we'll also look at the future focus. So anything else to add to either of those discussions before we close down for this half?
It's just so much easier now than it was 20 years ago. It is so much easier now. You are so fortunate to be going out into the world now, doing it. So much. I'm almost envious. You know? I'm almost envious.